As we watch the video of Jackson's final rehearsals, we're joined by a man who was helping Jackson in those final hours. Dorian Holley was the vocal director for the tour that Jackson was planning, and he joins us now from Los Angeles. Dorian, first of all, my condolences. I know you were intimately a part of this concert planning, and give us a sense. Can you take us back to that last rehearsal, what that evening was like?
Well, Suzanne, it is a very emotional time for all of us that were there on stage with Michael. And I have to say that everyone, the first thing that people ask me, my friends who call and ask, was Michael sick? Was he weak? Was he ill? Was the absolute opposite of that. He was very energetic. He was happy. He was even more playful than he normally was at rehearsal. Everybody in the band has ear monitors, so we could hear Michael talking, you know, through his microphone when he was backstage or changing clothes. And, you know, he was kidding around with his wardrobe people, with the makeup people. He was in a very, very up mood.
What was he saying? What was he saying?
You know, he would tease, Karen Faye is the woman that's dressed him ever since I've known him, which is about 22 years. And he calls her Turco, and he would just tease her and poke fun at her. And Michael Bush is the guy who makes Michael's clothes and always has for these many years. And he would, you know, he was just full of jokes and full of life. And that's why when I heard the news, I thought it was a mistake or a hoax. It took me until I got in, because we were due at rehearsal at 4:30 on Thursday. And it was Thursday afternoon when I found out. And it even took me a couple of days to actually believe it and accept it.
When you were with him and you were rehearsing on that evening, what was he like? Was he tired? Was he lethargic? Was he upbeat? Can you describe for us what it was like to be with him?
You know, we started rehearsal about a month and a half ago, and he was great. I was told when I came on and I started auditioning singers that he was working out every day. He was dancing. His schedule was he'd work out in the morning, he'd get with the dancers, and then he'd do vocal lessons. And he was there every day, which is different from the way it's been since I've worked with him. We wouldn't come together until the last few weeks. You know, he'd be off with the dancers, and the band would be off with the band, and the singers would be off doing their thing. Michael was there. He was present. He was completely in it. And
how many hours was he rehearsing? How many hours did he rehearse a day?
He would rehearse with us a couple of hours, with the band a couple of hours a day.
Would he take breaks?
Oh yeah, everybody. We take breaks after every couple of songs. We take a break, because all of us needed it because it was hot. We were in the Forum for a couple of weeks, and we were in Staples a couple of weeks, and you know, so it was boiling. The lights. We had the biggest LCD screen that has ever been used. So under that was like sitting under sitting in a tanning salon. So we'd have to take a break. You know, every other song or so we take a break.
And you've worked with him for so long in his career. He's now 50 years old. Did you notice anything different? Was it tougher for him to go through these kinds of rehearsals? Was it more taxing, or has he changed in any way?
Well, yeah. When you're over 50, yeah. I'm sure that he was in pain after some rehearsals, but I got to tell you something. The guys on the stage dancing with him, the guys and girls dancing with him, were all in their 20s. Michael's 50. When Michael was on stage with them, there was only one person that you could watch, and that was Michael Jackson.
And what was his relationship? What was he like with the dancers?
He was great. He was always hugging people. He was always saying, "I love you. I love you more." The thing about Michael is that he is absolutely, without question, the sweetest person I've ever met in my life. I mean, Michael was such a gentle spirit. When he would be on stage performing a song and the cameraman would bring the camera up, he would kick at the cameraman, he'd punch at the cameraman, and after we'd finished the song, he would apologize. He would say, "It was all in love." I mean, if somebody made the most innocent, off-color joke, it would embarrass him and he would blush. And he would apologize for me sometimes. I mean, he was just sweet. And I mean, even when something went wrong in rehearsal and he had to say, "I want the lighting this way as opposed to that way," it was just done in the most gentle, sweet manner that your feelings couldn't be hurt at all.
Dorian, I want to also ask you, what was he saying to you? Why was this his final tour? Did he have a message? I know that he talked a little bit about helping the earth and how important that was, but what did he give to you? What was the point of all of this?
Well, I hope this doesn't sound too syrupy, but he had a message of love, and he was very, very concerned with the environment, and that was part of a theme, a thread through the show. But his main message was one of love and of people coming together, and he was extremely serious about that. And not in a preachy way, but I mean, you know of his song Earth Song and Heal the World and We Are the World. Those were the themes in the show, and they were elements that he reiterated all throughout rehearsal, how important it was to get this out. He didn't really talk to us about this being his last show and why that may have been. So I can only speculate about that, but I do know that the bottom line he just wanted to send a message of love and to peace to people. And that's me presuming to speak for him. I'm saying what he said to us. What he said to us, that these things were important, and these were things that he wanted to get across.
And Dorian, for the dancers and for those who are so intimately involved in these final days with Michael Jackson, I understand when they got the news, that you couldn't dance, you couldn't play his songs like so many other people were doing. How is the group handling it? Are they going to be a part of the memorial service, or what are they going to do? What are you going to do?
Well, it's very difficult. I call the singers, and I call Travis Payne, our choreographer. I talked to Kenny Ortega a couple of days ago, and and my wife and I, we sit around, and it's very hard. It's very hard even to talk to you now, just to think about it, just to watch him. Everybody's just struggling to get through it, because it's hard to believe that somebody so vibrant and so talented and so amazing. I mean, we were together up until nearly midnight on Wednesday night. And then on Thursday the afternoon, he was gone. And I think everybody's having a real tough time with it.
What was the last thing he said to you? Do you remember?
He looked at me as I walked by him off the stage and said, "I love you." That was the last thing he said to me. The thing that I want people to remember is, in rehearsal that night, he was extremely happy. He was seeing the show come to life, go from his vision to being the actual physical parts of the show being put up there. And, he was just like a kid in a candy store, because he was seeing his vision come alive. And that's the memory that I'll try to keep with me as I think about this tragedy. Okay,
Dorian, thank you so much. We will have more questions with you. We're going to just take a quick break. The band, so close to the members of the band and his dancers, are they going to have a role and participate in the memorial service on Tuesday? Are you going to have some sort of role as well?
Well, I was talking to Ken Stacy, one of the other singers, this morning, and we have mixed feelings about it. Of course, we'll all be there, and if they ask us to participate, we'll do whatever we can to support the family and to send Michael off. But it's just kind of rough because I know it's going to be extremely emotional for everybody, and it's going to be pretty hard.
Can you see the group together perhaps doing a dance for him in his honor on stage?
Again, whatever they ask me to do, I'm going to do. I don't know if that's in the plans yet. I only found out yesterday that the service is actually on Tuesday, and of course I'm going to be there. But if we're going to do anything musically or not, I can't say.
You've known him for so long. Can you give us a sense, what's your relationship with Michael Jackson?
Well, I don't want to give the wrong idea. I don't want to act like Michael and I were pals and he would call me over for ice cream, because that wasn't the case. But I have done all of his solo tours since 1987, so I think it was 5 or 6 of them. And, he trusted me to kind of help to make the vocals right. I mean, I hadn't been the vocal director of the band before, but this time I was. And, it was a privilege and an honor to do it. And it was just great. I'm sorry.
Has his voice changed at all? We're watching video. Is he actually singing during these rehearsals, or is he saving his voice and lip syncing?
Sometimes he was saving his voice. That last rehearsal he was singing. Yeah, I mean, because he was getting warmed up and he was getting in shape for it. So the last week he was, he was actually, and he sounded great. We were, I guess, a week away from leaving, and I believe he was ready to hit it.
Okay. Dorian, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's been difficult for you and for the rest of the dancers in the band, but really appreciate your time today.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Well,